Hey, what's up? My name is Hugh. I play for a band called East of Eden, and I'm going to share some of my thoughts about how to play breakdown. Now look, I know most of you are already established musicians and you have your own ideas about how breakdown should be written. That's fine. If you're watching, take my ideas with a grain of salt. This video is principally for people who are starting out and, would just like to find out how to write breakdowns with a little bit more flair than your standard chug chug chug. So if that's you, enjoy. Now, I grew up with bands such as I Lay Dying and Haste the Day, especially when their first and second albums were coming out. So some of you might think my techniques or my material is really old school. That's fine. It should still serve as a good, I guess, stepping stone for you to start developing your own ideas off. It's really for those people who just have no idea what to do and want some idea. As you can see, my blinds aren't really working properly. Sorry about that. The first thing you want to do when writing a breakdown is establish what tempo the song is going to be at. Now, for all you non-musicians who are not familiar with the term tempo, it's basically how fast the song is. It's quantified by a numerical value, followed by BPM, which stands for beats per minute. To give you an idea, this here is about 140. I'll start you off with, writing a breakdown about that speed. So this is what it sounds like, 140. So something like that. Now, assuming your song is a standard 4/4 time signature, a good place to start is to make up a simple 1-bar rhythm, which is 4 beats, and go from there. So let's go with something like this. Again. So if you were to repeat that 4 times, you'd end up with something sounding a bit like this. 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, it's starting to sound breakdowny, awfully generic and awfully boring, but I'll show you how to make that a little bit better. A technique you might hear in the industry is to replace the last repetition with some kind of riff, maybe something like. So what you'd have all together, 2, 3, 4. And with the drums, it sounds a little bit like this. So it's sounding a little bit better, still a little bit boring. I'll show you the next step on how to make it a little bit better. Okay, so the next thing I'll do would be something called the phase technique, and basically you take the 1-bar, 4-beat rhythm that you have, and on the second repetition, you put it out of phase. So what I do is put it 2 beats out of phase, so it's still even. You'd end up with something sounding like this. I'll just add the metronome for you to make it a little bit easier to think about. 2, 3, 4. And with the drums, it sounds a little bit like this. So it's sounding a little bit better, still a little bit boring. I'll show you the next step on how to make it a little bit better. So the next thing I do is add what I like to call fillers. Now I know I just said space was good, but I'll explain how space fits into it soon. So fillers are basically snippets of what you've already written to fill in the space you create by phasing the first rhythm. For example, I'll take this idea and I'll use it to fill the first space, and then I'll take this idea and I'll use it to fill the second space. So what you end up with is something like this. Again, with the metronome, 2, 3, 4. Okay, still pretty basic, but now you've got a good skeleton to work with. The next thing I'd do would be to listen, go over it a couple of times and figure out which pieces you can swap in and swap out to make it a bit more interesting. Explore using bends and bursts. With this next example, I've replaced this with this, and this with this. So have a listen. Still a little bit generic, but it's palatable. It's sounding good. It's sounding better than the first one. Remember the first one? Yeah, we don't need to speak about that one anymore. Okay, so what if we were to combine all of these things together? Remember how I said we'd bring space back in? Well, listen to this. This is the end product of all the things I've talked about, and you know, see for yourself how it sounds. This is it with some drums. Also, you might have noticed I changed the drums up a little bit. There were lots of different techniques in there that would help you augment your breakdown. Hopefully some of these things in the video will help you write a better breakdown. Now look, there's heaps more to writing breakdowns. There are different styles, hardcore, metalcore, gent, different tempos, different feels, breakdowns with vocals over them, breakdowns without vocals over them. I'd love to get into all of that now, but I don't want to make this video 10 minutes long. Or 10 hours. So if you want to see more, if you want to know how to write different breakdowns, comment, like, let me know what you want and I'll try and figure out something for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Ask me any questions you want to know about the guitar, the amp sounds, my ethnicity, anything. I'll see you guys later.